I will try my best to be as earnest as possible. I'm going to focus on positives, but I am going to be focusing on the negatives with this movie. This movie sucks. So, let's start with the 1978 sequences. They're really well done. They look like from that era. It looks like, John Carpenter himself shot it. They're really well done. Stupid scenes aside, there is a bunch of character moments in these sequences that are very questionable, but you know what? Overall, the sequences are really well done. Probably the saving grace of the movie. And in terms of, kills, the movie delivers on the kills. They are pretty gnarly. Specifically, this firefighter scene is really cool. There is a lot of cool imagery in this movie. Michael Myers looks the best than he ever has. This is probably the best he's ever looked in any sort of media. But, that's really kind of where my positivity towards this movie ends. Like I said, this movie delivers on the kills. They're very gruesome. They're very, I dare even say, they're kind of well done. Despite them being very overwhelming, and also, it's a very overwrought film overall. But most of the kills do deliver, so if you're a horror movie nut and that loves gory movies, you're gonna love this film. But let's get into the real meat of this, of why I just genuinely dislike this movie very strongly, especially since I really did love 2018's Halloween. I mean, after 3 whole years of waiting, and this was the end result. It is disappointing. But I will say this. I do think it is entertaining. It's not boring. That is probably the biggest compliment I can give the film, is that it's not boring. If I watch it, I don't dread what's gonna happen. I do dread how, miserable it's gonna make me feel because of how it's a lot. There's a lot of sequences that is just a lot to handle that I will get into. But overall, it's not like a movie I'm just like, well, this is gonna bore me to death. It's entertaining at least. So, let's address the elephant in the room. Who the hell thought it was a good idea to have Laurie spend the majority of the film in the hospital? She does not do anything. She doesn't even see Michael Myers in this movie. Big John, Little John. Now, I have no issues with, characters' sexual preferences or, religious beliefs. That I'm totally fine with. What I'm not fine with is how they're written. Now look, they are perfectly fine as characters. But when they make stupid decisions, it's just not good. But you know what? They're not the biggest, thing about this movie that I really hate. Now, even Big John's death, as brutal as it is, it's still pretty impressive. Now, in terms of Little John's death, that's up for debate on even being good. Now, despite the stupid character decisions in this sequence is still pretty cool and kind of fun to watch and see. I mean, just seeing Michael just be absolutely ruthless in this sequence, it's kind of fun. It's kind of entertaining. You know what? It didn't bore me to death. Again, like I said, stupid character decisions aside, this sequence is pretty decent. Now, I'll get more into this at the end of my video, but the main reason why I hate this movie is the mob mentality, specifically at the hospital. It is very quick, to the point where one character in particular has just one of the most gruesome, overwrought, depressing death scenes I've seen in a while. It is just absolutely it's egregious to see and also just watch. It is just very exhausting. And Tommy shouting "Evil dies tonight" certainly doesn't help. And the title isn't sugarcoating it, the movie delivers on the kills. Some of them are very brutal, very gruesome, and others are just, you know, your standard slasher movie violence. But, you know, in a movie like this, they could have toned down the kills. It were, in my opinion, just it felt like it was just affecting the movie, and it was just too brutal to even care. And let's not forget about the ending, where Michael Myers just absolutely gets. This is where the supernatural aspect comes in, which is just ridiculous. Is Michael Myers supernatural, or is he not? And, I mean, he just gets whooped. That's all I'm gonna say. I mean, he just gets annihilated. I mean, he gets stabbed, punched, just absolutely obliterated. And then, you know, just to top it all off, he gets back up, no issues at all, and just starts, you know, he just kills everyone, including Tommy, where, I mean, it has no effect on him. Oh yeah, and Karen dies in a Psycho homage, but really the editing is so jarring, and it's, you just have to see it to believe it. Now, just before I wrap this up, I figured I'd mention the boyfriend Cameron, who I didn't mention in my last review, but he was dating, you know, the character Allison for a little bit. He cheated on her for like a brief second, they broken up, then he disappeared from the first movie. He reappears in this. He does unfortunately die at the hands of Michael, but I will say his character is actually pretty decent. Now, I can go off on this movie for what seems like hours and give you basically the whole play-by-play of just what I do not like about this movie, because I do not like this movie at all. It is just absolutely, in my humble opinion, just, it's very badly made. Like, it's just, I don't know, maybe I just had too high of expectations for it, but it's just not a good movie. It's just too overwrought, it's too brutal, and you get the messaging of what it's trying to say about mob mentality, especially since it's released after the whole Capitol riot thing. I'm not sure if this was like, you know, if they filmed this movie before all that, but the messaging is just very, you know, we are gonna pound this message into your head in case you did not get it. And don't worry, I got it a billion times, and it just keeps going. And this movie is just, it just never stops. I know a lot of people, specifically a lot of horror fans, will like it because, like I said, the movie, I've said this many times, I mean, the movie delivers on the kills. I mean, this movie is kills galore. The extended cut that I watched, it is just absolutely just relentless. It just never stops. And there are times where I'm just like, guys, let's calm down a bit. I get that it's called Halloween Kills, but can we tone down the kills? And they did not. They even doubled down on it, it seems like, and just kept going. Now, do I like absolutely think it's not like necessary to watch? I mean, if you're a Halloween fan, go ahead and watch it, but you know, for me, being a Halloween fan, I was let down by it, but don't let my opinion affect how you want to spend your time, because again, this movie isn't bad per se. There are a lot of good things. Like I said in my previous video, the movie expands on Halloween. In fact, this continues the exact same night as the first one. You know, Michael Myers, how he survived, he just hid in like this little, in the gun closet that Laurie had, and then, you know, goes on his little killing spree. And also, you have to think, at this point with that many kills, you gotta send in the National Guard. I don't know, like, I'm shocked that, you know, SWAT team or SEAL Team 6 hasn't, like, jumped in on Haddonfield to try and, like, hunt Michael down, because he killed so many people in this movie. You have to wonder, Where the heck is the frickin' police? Or better yet, where is the SWAT? Where is the frickin' army? Like, oh my gosh. But, again, I want to go on a tangent and rant about this. Rant about this movie. Because there are good things about it. But, there is a lot to dislike about it. I mean, the chant, "Evil dies tonight." Really? I mean, they will pound that into your head to the point where that's all you can hear, is that freaking chant. Oh, jeez. And Lonnie. Oh, not Lonnie. Tommy. Played by Anthony Michael Hall. I mean, great actor, but he just played such a just like a horrible person. I get that a lot of people were affected by the 1978 murders, but man, this movie was a lot, if you could not tell. I literally rewatched it just to make sure that I can do this review as accurately as possible. And it's something else, guys. That's all I'm going to say. It is something else. But, you know, could have been a lot worse. Now again, is it all bad? Heck no. The 1978 flashback scenes are really cool. In fact, I'll mention this. They got an actor to play Donald Pleasance, but it wasn't an actor. It wasn't a deepfake or anything like that. It wasn't even a digital de-aging. It was literally a random person on set that looked like Donald Pleasance, and they added a bit of makeup to him, and he looked like spot on like Donald Pleasance. I almost said Daniel, good lord. And I gotta say, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool that they did do that versus, deep faking it or CGIing it. So, effort is here. It's just not. And also, it suffers from the middle chapter, especially since they announced that this was a trilogy. You know that Michael's not gonna die by the end of the movie. So you have to wonder what's gonna happen. So that didn't help because the entire movie feels like filler. And then by the time you get to Halloween Ends, which I will talk about and upload within a hour, I should say, it's like, wow. I'm gonna be pretty ticked off when I get to that one. But anyway, that's really all I can say about the movie. I don't want to take up too much time on this because it's not worth it. It's not worth talking this much about this movie, but I want to get to the main complaints that I have. Anyway, that's about it. See ya.